Our reading from Matthew's Gospel today is about the call of the 12 apostles, which Matthew sees as happening after Jesus taught the crowds on the mountain. And coming down from the mountain, Jesus enters the world that they lived in. He meets a leper whom he cures, a Roman centurion who begs him to cure his servant. In Peter's house, he cures Peter's mother-in-law, and then the crowds come from everywhere looking for healing. And Jesus heals them, one after the other. Paralyzed man, 2 blind men. He even raises a little girl from the dead. Jesus went around to all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom, curing every disease and illness. That's what Matthew says. At the sight of them, Jesus' heart was moved with pity because they were troubled and abandoned like sheep without a shepherd. He was moved by the world that he saw, troubled and abandoned like sheep without a shepherd. And so he calls apostles, followers, to go out into this troubled and abandoned world to teach and to bring healing. And for the most part, those who are called are ordinary people, fishermen, tax collectors. They're not always loyal to him. They'll leave him when he's arrested and goes to his death, and one of them will betray him. And yet he calls them to go out into this troubled and abandoned world with his power to heal. And they're to form a church that brings healing and teaching to the world. It's a church that, like the Israelites whom God called from the desert, they must always know that God is the one who saves and heals and teaches. So when we hear the story of Jesus calling the disciples, he's calling us. Yes, the first 12 he called to bring healing, but we're called to also bring healing and teaching to the world in which we live. The harvest is there. We're called into the harvest.